The moment you cost a client money, the conversation about whether they call you back becomes a little more difficult to have. On set, time is money. A delay in makeup or hair doesn't just affect you and the person in your chair, it affects the photographer, the wardrobe stylist, the crew, the talent. If you're on a production, which is likely paying overtime, a late start can cost an absolute ton of money. If you're doing a wedding, pushing back the timeline creates this domino effect that is going to affect every single vendor on that day. This is the context that you're going to be working in every time a client changes their mind, and that change costs you time. And they will change their mind even after months of planning, after a trial, mid-application, after seeing themselves on camera. It happens at every single level on every type of job. The question isn't whether it'll happen to you, it's whether you'll know what to do when it does. There are two scenarios that you're going to be dealing with as a working artist. The first is a personal client, so a bridal client, event client, someone who's been planning this look for months, has done a trial with you, signed off on everything, maybe you've chatted, exchanged photos, and then on the day, they see themselves in the mirror and they want something different, or they saw something on Instagram that morning, or they're just nervous and second guessing every single decision that they've made. Now, the second situation is a production or set change. So the director wants something different on camera. The talent has a preference that nobody mentioned to you in the pre-production meetings. The photographer is maybe seeing something in the light that changes what the makeup needs to be. For the most part, these changes are not personal, they're more directional, and they can come at any point during the shoot. Before you even start, halfway through your application, even after you finished. Both require the same type of response from you, but many artists aren't really prepared for either. Here's what I see happen most often, and I've been in these situations as well. An MUA gets a last minute change request for the makeup, and their response comes from one of two places. So the first, of course, is fear of disappointing the client. So they say yes to everything, even when yes is the wrong answer. Or it comes from a misplaced sense of control. There's an illusion that exists in our industry that your expertise gives you authority over the outcome. And when a client changes their mind, that illusion gets challenged. So you realize pretty quickly that you don't have as much control as you thought, creative control. We work in customer service. That's the reality of this job. And for some artists, that realization is genuinely hard to deal with. Neither of those responses really serves the client, and neither of them serves you either. Trust me on this, saying yes when you can't deliver is very damaging to your reputation in this industry. If a client asks you to change a full makeup look with like 10 minutes left before a talent is needed on set and you say yes because you don't want to disappoint them, you are setting yourself up to deliver something very rushed, something incomplete. You're not doing your client a favor. It's conflict avoidance disguised as professionalism. And the straight up, no, I can't do that, or no, we don't have time, without a resolution, without an alternative, without anything to offer, that can be just as hard for your client to deal with. So you've left the client with a problem and no path forward. When you get in these situations, what this actually requires is two things. So one, confidence in your skill set, and comfort with what feels like confrontation but isn't. It's not confrontation, it's a professional conversation about what is possible. When a client changes their mind, your job is to assess two things immediately, and this goes for personal clients as well. What are they actually asking for, and what does the timeline allow? Then you can give them a real answer based on both. So it would sound like, I totally understand what you're looking for, but based on the time we have right now, here's what I can do. Or, I can definitely make that change, but to do it properly, I need 15 more minutes. Can we get that in the schedule? You are not saying no, but you're also not saying yes to something that you can't possibly deliver. You're giving them a choice based on real information. And that is what a professional makeup artist does. The client may push back, and that's okay. You have to hold the line, and you don't have to be aggressive about it. You just have to be clear. I want to give you what you're asking for, but this is what that actually requires. Many clients, when they're given a clear and honest answer, will respect that. The ones who don't and are completely ruthless, that's another conversation entirely. But most clients, you'll find, will respond positively to that type of negotiation. You cannot train for every version of this. These specific situations that come up, somebody upsets the bride, they cry off all their makeup and then decide they want a completely different look half an hour before the ceremony. The director who changes direction after you finish the application and started shooting, you are not going to see these things coming. You can train your ability to stay calm and logical when these situations do come up. The The ability to handle these changes comes from knowing your skill set well enough to assess what's possible in the time you have. It comes from having had these conversations enough times that they stop feeling like confrontation and start feeling more like problem solving. And it comes from understanding that our job is not to make the client happy at any cost. Your job is to deliver the best possible result within the constraints of the situation that you're in. Sometimes those two things align perfectly. Sometimes they require a conversation. The MUAs who get rebooked and who get referred are the ones who can have that conversation without backing down. If you need help with the communication side of your business, what to say, when to say it, how to handle these situations, or maybe these situations have already happened to you and they're still bothering you, I can support you through that inside the Artist to Artist membership. Link is in the description.